Hello students, you're welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Hi, I'm going to be your physics instructor for today's lesson. Come along with me.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
For today's lesson, we'll be taking heat transfer. Let's look at the learning objectives together. By the end of the lesson, you as a student will be able to define heat transfer, state the modes of heat transfer, explain the application of heat transfer. Heat transfer. Heat transfer is the transfer of thermal energy from one body to another. The rate of heat transfer depends on temperature difference between two materials. The greater this difference, the higher the rate of heat transfer. Examples are heat from the sun warming your face. Secondly, reheating a cold cup of coffee in a microwave oven. Thirdly, heat transfers into your hands as you hold a cup of hot coffee. Touching a stove and being burned, or ice cooling down your hand. And lastly, the heat from a heater. Causes of heat transfer. Experiment shows that the heat transfer to or from a substance depends on three factors, which are the change in the substance temperature, the mass of the substance, and certain physical properties related to the phase of the substance. As you can see, we have radiation from the sun, we have conduction, we have convection. These are modes of heat transfer. Let's check in the next slide. Modes of heat transfer. We have conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction, this is the direct transfer of heat between particles in physical contact. Examples are a metal spoon in a hot cup of coffee. Then we have heat is transferred also through walls of our houses or our schools or our churches or mosques. Then we have convection. This is the transfer of heat through the movement of fluids. Examples are ocean currents, where we have the land and sea breezes, then atmospheric circulation, and heat is also transferred in what? In heat transfer in buildings. Radiation. This is the transfer of heat through electromagnetic waves. Examples are solar radiation and heat transfer from a fire. So as you can see from this singular diagram, we have the three modes of heat transfer coming into play. So we can see this cup of water, and this is the source of heat, which is the stove. You can see the heat is what? This one is radiation. The person holding the pot can feel the radiation without touching, but for conduction to occur, he has to touch that cup of water, and for convection, we see it occurs within the liquid. Application of convection. We have the heating of water on a stove, which is the diagram we have here. We have ventilators provided at the top of room, which allows stale and hotter air to escape. We have this in factories. We have the ventilators is mostly used in factories or warehouses. Then we have use of chimneys. In factories, the smoke and hot gases being lighter rise up and escape out through the chimneys. Application of radiation. One of the most common and beneficial application of heat transfer by radiation is solar energy. Solar panels and collectors use the radiation from the sun to generate electricity or heat water. The radiation is absorbed by the surface of the panels, which converts it into electrical or thermal energy. Other applications of radiation includes for medical uses, for those that are going for chemotherapy and the others. We have academic and scientific applications. We have industrial uses, and we also have it in nuclear power plants. And this is also an example of radiation, you can see that the person does not actually have to touch the fire. You can feel the radiation of the heat from the fire without touching it. Application of conduction. We cook food in vessels made up of metals. And when we also iron our dresses, it is transferred from the iron to the cloth to smoothen the wrinkled parts. Then we also have the handles of our cooking utensils. That is why they are made of plastic or wood, because they are poor conductors of heat. If it is made of metal, definitely we are going to feel the wrath of the heat on our palms. Then the temperature inside the igloo, which is a snow house, is warm because snow is a poor conductor of heat. And this is an example of what we have here. You can see that the turning spoon is also made of wood instead of metal, and the handle is also made of what? Plastic. But the source of itself is made of a metal, which conducts heat. So application of heat transfer. In engineering, it helps in the designing of heating and cooling systems and other thermal insulation. Medicine is used in the treatment of injuries and cancer treatments. While in our environment, it helps us to know climate change and for weather patterns. Practice question. I believe during the course of the lesson, you will be able to briefly explain the 3 modes of heat transfer. I'll give you some seconds to do that. I'll be right back. Welcome back. So I believe from the class we had today, you as a student will explain the 3 modes of heat transfer as follows. The 3 modes of heat transfer are conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction, we said, is the direct transfer of heat between particles in physical contact. That is the key word there, physical contact. And an example is a metal spoon in a hot cup of coffee, or heat transfer through the walls. Convection, which is the second mode of heat transfer, we said it transfers it through the movement of fluids. So this occurs in the fluid itself as heat is being applied to it. Now we have example, we have the land and sea breeze. We also have atmospheric circulation and heat transfers in buildings. And for radiation, we said it's the transfer of heat through electromagnetic waves. And a very typical example is solar. So we have solar radiation and heat transfer from any source of fire. Thank you for watching.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
For further questions, observations, suggestions, kindly go through our social media links on the screen and put up your comments there, your observation or your questions. Thank you for staying with us today. See you next time.
Acing your WAEC and NECO examinations has been made easy by the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education with the Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates television program. Join seasoned teachers as they take you through these core subjects: mathematics, English language, physics, chemistry, and biology, targeting the exact syllabus of WAEC and NECO. Watch Eko Learners Support for WAEC and and NECO candidates on this station. Learners can also connect with Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates through these social media platforms to access more educational content and give their feedback. Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. Pass your examinations with flying colors.